right, welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Hidden Gems. This is the video series where I talk about those books that are still probably tucked away in those back issue boxes at your LCS. These aren't the hot books that everybody's chasing. These aren't wall books. These are kind of undervalued, underappreciated, forgotten type of things that you can probably still find, like I said, tucked away in those boxes if you guys go digging. Hopefully, you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. Check out our memberships, as I got membership only content dropping every week now, maybe once or twice a week as well, for that matter. And yeah, just having a heck of a lot of fun doing all of this. So I appreciate your feedback. Let me know what you want to see more of. And if you want to see what books I got for you this week, all you got to do is hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so for this week, we are shifting to basically covering like one topic. This is going to be kind of a special edition where I'm going to be looking at G.I. Joe and Transformers, two of my favorite things growing up. And we're going to start off with the nostalgia portion of it because, as I said, my favorite things growing up, this is a big deal nostalgia for me. You guys have seen I've picked up a lot of stuff lately from the Transformer combos, which we'll have more of maybe later this week. And I just love this stuff. I just can't get enough of it. Now, I might have talked about some of these things before on previous shows. I mean, I've done a lot of shows, a lot of articles over the years. So if they're repeats, I can't help it. I can't help it. I still love it. So we're going to start off with the original G.I. Joe comic, the Marvel run, way back in the day, the late issue run. So these are already getting a little pricey because we're getting later in the run. It ended at 155. So basically anything in those later issues are tougher and tougher to find as the print run went down. But this 4-issue run, when the title actually became G.I. Joe starring Snake Eyes, as they were leaning heavily on their most popular character, they did a crossover with the Transformers. So here you go. Megatron, Cobra Commander, right there on the cover, 139. It's a 4-issue run, and it's worth looking for these if you can find them. Here we go. I'm just going to show you the first one first, just to give you a sense, and then we're going to put the rest of them all together. So for 139, you can see this issue. Yes, it can still sell for cheap. People forgotten about this thing, so you can see one sold for $3, $2.93. Not that long ago, February 22nd. So it was only a couple of weeks ago. And then other copies are best offers on $20, $30. So this is a solid book if you can find it on its own. Asking prices for this one, you can see anywhere from like $15 to $24 to $35. Yeah, newsstands, people like to charge a premium for newsstands if you can find it. High grade is also a premium for these books because these things, again, for kids, they were probably beating these up, rolling them up, wrecking them, crushing them. So finding high grade copies isn't going to be the easiest task, but still worth looking and still kind of fun to go and hunt these things. As I said, this was the first issue in this 4-issue run. Here are the other 3 issues that complete this little crossover. So you got 140, you got 141, and it ends at 142. Once again, art may not be the greatest on all of these. I'll be fair, but it's still a lot of fun. But let's look at what the other issues, and a lot of these will be sold in sets and lots. So if you find them and if you can complete a set, you might do okay. You can see here, some sets have sold for $35, $30, $45. Asking prices kind of in that same range, if not higher, but a couple of the ones I saw when I was searching for this, $60 to $110. Those might be on the higher end. You can find, like I said, some sneakier cheap ones, more in that $30 to $40 range for all 4. But if you can find these in those cheap boxes, dollar bins, $2, it's worth your time and worth your effort. But you might have to do some digging to do so. That's the nostalgia portion. We're still going to stick with G.I. Joe and Transformers, but we're going to move it on over to variants real quick. So with variants, you're not getting any of those Marvels, those old school Marvels. You're not really getting any of that there. But G.I. Joe as a property and Transformers as well kind of bounced around. Both of them were the Marvel, then they were with IDW. There was some Devil's Due. Transformers had some Dreamwave stuff. G.I. Joe was even an Image for a little while, and Dark Horse. So there's a lot of different publishers going throughout the year. So there's a lot more than what I'm going to give you now. But this is just a little bit of a taste of a couple things that you can keep an eye out for when you go out there looking as far as variants go for these 2 properties. And for now, we're going to keep them together. We're going to keep them together as a crossover event because Image had this crossover with Transformers, and we had J. Scott Campbell doing a cover on number 1. This is the B cover. So it's not an incentive. This is just the B cover. There is I think, a black and white sketch version of this too, but we're just looking at the B cover. You got Cobra Commander, you got Megatron in the back, J. Scott Campbell. It's pretty cool, right? This thing does all right if you could find it. Like I said, it's not an incentive. It's not a 1 in 10, but it could sell for $3 to $4. I know that's really cheap, but I think it's a cool book for $3 to $4 personally. And if you see some of the asking prices, they could be a bit higher than that. So while that's what's sold, some of the asks are, you can still find the cheap $4 copy out there too. But a lot of the other ones are listed for 13 to 15, 17 type dollars. Like, that's more the range they're looking for, because Campbell is still a popular artist. These are still popular nostalgic properties, so people are going to look for a premium. But if you're patient, if you go digging, if you go looking, you might find it for cheap, because, like I said, it's not an incentive. It shouldn't be impossible to find. They are out there. You just got to go and look for them. So keep an eye out for that one. This was the Image crossover of G.I. Joe versus Transformers. They're not the only ones who did this. IDW also did a crossover between these two properties, and I believe IDW did it twice. But we're not going to cover both of them right now. Well, at least not right this second. But we're going to go to this version. I think that was the second version. So this is the IDW Transformers versus G.I. Joe. You can see they flip-flopped it. It wasn't G.I. Joe first. This time it's Transformers first versus G.I. Joe. This is the RI. Yes, if you can't tell by the questionable artwork, this is Rob Liefeld. So this is a Rob Liefeld cover for this. I'm just not a big fan, and you can see why. It's just not great. Even that Optimus looked weak. But hey, it is what it is. He has his fans. That's fine. I just feel like he mails it in a lot. Not that he can't do good work. I just feel like half the time it's rushed, and this is what you get. That said, this is a 1 in 10 incentive, and this is not that tough to find. So apart from it being a low end ratio, which is why I do it here on Hidden Gems and not a Chasing Ghost, is that it's only 1 in 10 incentive. And apart from that being like a lower ratio incentive, this was a decently printed series because popular characters, again, popular properties. So there are enough of these out there, and that's why you can see this 1 in 10 could sell for $6, $9. So you can see it's under ratio when it is selling, and some of the asking prices are even that cheap. $7 to $9. And there's the one-off, $25, $20 copy, 15. There's the more expensive ones out there too. But this is to give you a good range. There are plenty of copies under $10 out there of this particular cover if you wanted it. But it's the number one. So it's not surprising that the print run would have been higher. The incentives would be higher. They'd be easier to find. As we move later on in that run, though, they get a little bit tougher. And here are a couple of covers. Again, these are just ones that caught my eye. I just dig it. I like them. So that's why I'm showing you these ones. Yeah, this Grimlock Snake Eyes is pretty cool for number 6. I like it. This is also a 1 in 10 for this same series, which I think ran through 13 issues. They do not all have incentives. Many do, but not every issue does. But this number 6 is one of my favorites. I don't know. I like it. I like how it's laid out. I like the Snake Eyes. I like the Dinobot down below. I think it's pretty cool. And you can see here, this thing could sell for pretty cheap. My comic shop on eBay sold one for $2.40 for a 1 in 10 incentive, mind you. Granted, it was only very fine, so it wasn't a near mint copy, but still, my comic shop could sometimes undergrade a little bit, but you take what you're going to get, right? And for $2.40, that's not bad price, at least to me. The only copy I could find available was in this lot that had the other covers for issue 6, and it was $15 for all three. There's A cover, the sub cover, which technically it's a B cover, and then the 1 in 10 incentive. So $15 for all of them, it's also not terrible. But that's the only one I could find on eBay. But if we go to our friends at My Comic Shop and look, they actually did have 2 copies of this incentive there, but they want $13.50 a piece for near mint copies. So check that out as well if you were shopping for this. But there you go. It's still above ratio, so I still say go dig at your shop. Maybe you get lucky and you find it for cheaper than that. Another cover I liked in this run is this next one for issue 7. I like the Starscream with the Cobra behind it, and with the color burst kind of things. Like, it looks classic. It kind of has like an old vibe to it. I kind of dig it. But this is a cool cover. And another one that's not that easy. It's not that easy to find, at least online. Because, again, there's not that popular. Look, $2.40 again from My Comic Shop back in December for a near mint copy of this one, by the way. That was near mint. And on eBay right now, when I looked, I only found one example, and they wanted $18. So this is going to be a tougher one. I don't know, because, again, it's later in the run. The print run's not as high. But who knows what's at your shop? A lot of times these IDW books, and the reason why I like these IDW books and talk about them so often is that many times these are just on the shelves. These are just in the boxes. They weren't held out or held with any reverence or special like up pricing. A lot of times these just got tossed in the box and thrown in with the regular covers. Like they didn't even get pulled. It's like, oh, it's only 1 in 10. We'll just leave it out there. If somebody wants it, somebody will buy it. Some of these, if nobody bought it when that first week ran, they just got tucked in a back issue box and just priced like everything else. So that's why I like finding these, because you can find these RIs, and that's all you gotta look for. Look for the cover RI in the little corner. IDW tells you. They don't tell you the ratio, but they'll tell you, that it's a retailer incentive, and a lot of times they're 1 in 10s. That said, I got one more from this run, and the last one from this run, even though it ran, I think, 12 or 13 issues, this issue 9 was the last one that had a 1 in 10. Pretty cool Megatron holding all the Joes there. Classic image, kind of has like a vibe to that old skull holding the Cosmic Cube a little bit. But this 1 in 10 for issue 9 is another one, to keep an eye on, I guess. See if you find it in a box. Copy sold recently, February, was that 28th? $20. So this was double ratio, the last sold, and copies available still $13, $14. Granted, those are some expensive shipping from the UK. It's like $12 shipping and $18 from the Australia, shipping. So the available copies are from other countries, so you're gonna pay a little extra for that shipping. But look for it at your shop. Who knows? You might get lucky. Now, I only got one more segment for this week, and we're just gonna stick with my Joes and Transformers. I just decided I'm just doing it all. We're just going to stick with them. I'm not going to bounce around. I'm not going to mess about. So we're going to do some later prints that you can find for these two properties. Like we're going to do some combos, and then I'm going to split them off and just give you some randos. There's plenty more than what I'm giving you here. This is just a little taste. So we're going to start off again with that Image G.I. Joe versus Transformers crossover. This is the #1 second print. Just stark black cover, logos combined. Cool image. I dig it. Plus, black covers can be tough to find in high grade. So this is a cool one. I like it. Copy sold in a lot with a couple other issues. $27. That's the only sale I could find in the last 3 months for this particular cover. Available copies, however, I found a copy out of the UK that wanted $15 and then another $20 shipping. And then I found a copy asking $250. So yeah, very far discrepancy between those two prices, but that's it. Those are the only two I could really find. So good luck. But dig in a box. I'm telling you, go dig in a box. You might find this second print out there. That's for the crossover. Now we're going to split it off into the two. And we're going to start off with the Transformers and do a couple of Transformers second prints first. The first one being the Transformers #1. I think this is the 2009 run from IDW. This was still IDW. So this Optimus, pretty cool cover. I like it. It's celebrating, 25 years of Transformers, I guess, at the time. Issue 1. So it's going to be, that's why I got a second print, because they didn't second print every issue. This was like the first reintroduction, I guess, IDW. Well, maybe it wasn't. I don't remember who had publishing rights when. Like I said, they bounced around. From a few different places. I couldn't find any sold. None sold for this particular cover. The regular #1 found some. There's some other variants as well. But the second print, I couldn't find any sales the last 3 months. But I did find these asking prices, these available copies. As cheap as $20 for a fine, very fine copy. So, it's not going to be in great condition. And then $90 and $150. So once again, if you find this at a shop in a box and maybe it's marked $5 to $10, it could be worth picking up if it's in good shape. That's why I'm showing you this stuff. You make the call yourself. I'm not trying to create FOMO or make you go pay money or tell you to go buy these online. I'm telling you, when you go dig it in your shop, just know where the market is. We don't know what it's selling for because none sold recently, but we can see what people are asking for. So if you find one in a box, you might be able to go and grab one and make yourself a few dollars if that's what you're looking to do. Nothing wrong with going and flipping a comic. I'm not going to be going to condemn anybody for doing that. I sell the occasional comic too. It's you do what you want to do. Collect how you want to collect. Hobby how you want to hobby. I'm just trying to give you some info to help you do that. So hopefully you appreciate that. And with that, I got another one for you. Another Transformers second print, another #1, but for a different series. This is Transformers More Than Meets the Eye #1. We got Rodimus. Well, I think it's just Rodimus. No, Hot Rod. I guess he was Hot Rod then because he didn't become Rodimus Prime till he got the Matrix and all that stuff in the movie. But looks like just plain old hot rod here on More Than Meets the Eye. Number one, this is the second print cover. And this one, once again, it's selling for decent amounts. Look, 30, 40, $45 or three sale examples that I found for you the last couple of months. And the asking prices on this one are in that same range, 45 to about $50. So this could be another decent one. If you can find this second print in a box and it's not priced too heavily, it might be worth scooping up. So, once again, just know the market and know what you're looking at. It looks like I got another one for you. Another Transformers second print. This one can be a little tricky because it looks very much like the first print. This is Transformers Spotlight on Megatron. Now, the only difference here from this one, I didn't grab the other picture because the other picture for the first print looks exactly like this, except the $3.99 price tag is not red. It's just, I think it has something else in there, and it's not red. So the second print has that red $3.99 price thing up here at the top. So that's how you would tell this is the second print. Otherwise, cover looks the same. Cover looks the same, except the background color is a little more like not washed out. Like this is more washed out, dark and purpley, like hued background. I think the regular background is more of just like a regular rock colored rocks behind him. But subtle differences in the first and second print. But both are probably worth grabbing. That said, for this second print, I couldn't find anything sold or available for the second print. Couldn't find them. Couldn't find them. I went looking and looking. Couldn't find it for either. But, oh, I did grab here's the first print. I did grab a picture. I wasn't sure if I did or not. So, because I didn't want to mix things up because we were on the later printing section. But this is the second print. Couldn't find copies sold or available. But here's the first print, so you can see the difference. Again, the background, you see the rocks more clearly. The price is not marked in red. $40 for the first print. So if you can find the first print, grab the first print too, because there was a copy that sold for $40, and then available copy $100 on the first print. So I couldn't even find the second print. So if you do find the second print, imagine what you get upcharged there, because you could probably do a nice premium there as well, considering you'd be the only one on the market. Just saying. All right, that's it for Transformers. I got a couple of G.I. Joe later prints to share with you, and then we're going to wrap it up for this week. Try to keep it short. I'm still dealing with a little bit of a cold, trying to fight it, trying to get over this thing. It's kind of taking my voice a little bit, so trying to get through these quickly. So with that, here is G.I. Joe, and this is G.I. Joe number 22, the second print. This is a Serpentor cover. Yes, even the regular cover A also features Serpentor pretty heavily, but this one, pretty cool. I'm a fan. I got the special G.I. Joe classified toy for it. Again, I was a big fan of this. That five episode run when they were creating Serpentor was one of my favorites. Every time it like replayed and came back on, like I didn't want to play outside. I made sure I stayed inside that whole week to watch all 5 episodes of that event of when Cobra was creating Serpentor. That said, this is the second print, and this one does okay. Somebody, I think, lucked out here as far as the pricing goes for this sale. The only sale I could find was this one. It was a 9.8, and it sold at 12 bids for under $80. I think that was a good deal. Personally, I think that was a good deal because there aren't a lot of these out there. And to get a 9.8 is probably also not going to be easy. And I don't know if they were listed as like the only 9.8 in the census. I don't know how many are in the census, but I think that was a pretty good deal somebody got back in January. Because right now, if you want to go buy one, I only found one available, and it's raw, and they want $400. So, you do the math there, too. I'm not saying this is a $400 raw book. I'm just saying that's a pretty solid 9.8 purchase for something that right now, the only copy out there is looking for $400. So, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, and good luck hunting this, because I'm also looking for this book. With that, we got a couple of more Joe second prints for you. With these numbers through the IDW run, they're very close and very similar because a lot of that run was focused in around the death of Snake Eyes, and we had Don Marino coming in to replace him and yada yada. So we're going to start there. Now, I think I covered the issue before this, 212, because there's a second print for this as well, and that's I think the Death of Snake Eyes. This is the issue after the Death of Snake Eyes, so this is part 2 of the Death of Snake Eyes storyline, and this is very similar to the cover A. It's just I think the skull is black and white here. Otherwise, it looks very similar to the first print. But this one also does okay if you can find it. So sold copies here, about $20, $25, $30 for this second print. Not too bad. So again, if you find it in a box, keep that in mind. Asking prices, asking 30, 35, all the way up to 150. So yeah, there are some high asks out there, but you can still see by and large the minimum is a $30 book for this second print cover. Now that was during the death of Snake Eyes, and then we're gonna get his replacement with Don Marino, and that leads us to our next and final, I think, second print for this one. And I think we talked about the issues before this one before, but we're gonna talk about issue 247 right now, which is this with Storm Shadow facing off against Dawn on the cover. You can see copies. This is not gonna be as expensive as the last one. Copies here selling for as cheap as $8, 14.50, $25 sales. Asking prices also in that kind of like $15 range for a couple of them. Then one as high as $85. And this is once again looks very similar to the cover A, which I think has a bluish background. The background's colored, so the second print just washes out the background color. That's the only difference that you really tell just by looking at the front. Otherwise, you gotta dig a little deeper to find out what printing it is. But that's all I got for you this week. I know it seems a little bit short, but like I said, just fighting a little bit of a cold, so I'm trying to get over and get my voice back here, lose some of this congestion, and hopefully you enjoyed that. And hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as all the other stuff we have here on the channel. I appreciate you all checking in and stopping by. I've got plenty more stuff for you, both this week and going forward, for whether it be shorts, members only content, all the live shows that we're doing, and all the recorded stuff that I do as well. So with that, thank you again, and I'll be back soon with some more content. All right, later.